All right, this is case number 2012534 FH, People versus Cody O'Rourke. Mr. O'Rourke is set for sentencing. And Mr. O'Rourke, do you understand that you have the right to be physically present in court for sentencing?
Yes, sir.
And do you waive or give up that right and agree to be sentenced remotely?
Yes, sir.
Prosecution and defense, was the pre-sentence investigation report timely made available to you?
It was, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Frisbee, do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges to that report?
I do. I have quite a few, actually, Your Honor. On the front page, it indicates that my client was currently under sentence, and he was not at the time of the offense, and he isn't currently.
I had him on district court probation, according to the criminal history. It would be December 20th, 2018, Kent County. He received 24 months probation, and the notes say he's still active probation.
My client tells me that he paid all his fines. He was not on probation. His probation was actually unsuccessfully terminated, and at the time of the offense, he was not on probation, nor is he currently. That's what he told me.
Mr. Zira?
My information also indicated that he was under probation supervision at the time he committed these offenses.
All right, the court's going to leave that entry as is. If we get some paperwork from Kent County that shows a definite discharge date that predated this offense, then the court would make an adjustment after that.
All right. Okay, then on page under evaluation and plan, where it says supervision, it says this is a prison only recommendation, and that's not the plea agreement, so it's not a prison recommendation at all. So that is wrong.
Hang on. What are you looking at there?
We're on the second page, or wait, third. I don't know what page it is. There's no page numbers. As under evaluation and plan, where it lists some supervision fee. It said there's no supervision fee because it's a prison only recommendation. That's not accurate.
Well, that's the probation officer's, it could be the probation officer's recommendation, which would be different than what the plea agreement is.
That's correct, Your Honor. I did recommend prison in this case. The sentencing specialist overrode that. And the recommendation that you see today to the court is from the sentencing specialist.
All right, so the recommendation, and I don't think I have the information about the sentencing override. I have the recommendation for 15 months to 180 months with credit for 125. Given that that's the recommendation from the probation department, then I would find that their no supervision fee would be accurate if I implemented their recommendation.
Okay,
Which
well,
I
then
understand if I did that, it would be violating the plea agreement, but, so I'll leave that as is.
All right, the next page where under the CBT where it says everything will be assessed upon incarceration, I am assuming you're going to leave that as is too.
Yes.
Okay. Again, on when we flip a few pages and go to the adult history, again, my client is saying that 1 of 2 is not accurate. I'll try to contact Kent County Probation and verify that. The next page.
Yeah, we'll fix that if it turns out that he was terminated, because that'll also impact the prior record variable if he was not on probation.
Right. And then under marriage, if you flip a few pages,
Okay?
the the second daughter that he has is Emma, not Gemma. In the,
All
in the
right,
grid.
we'll make that change.
All right, and the next page under schooling, I guess it's Byron Center High School.
Okay?
I mean, it's correct in the comments, but it says he got a high school diploma and he did not. He was actually expelled for drugs at that time.
All right, we'll eliminate the high school diploma under certificate.
All right, and then as far as the guidelines, I just had that PRV 6 because he says he was not on probation at the time.
All right, well, it was scored at 10 points, which would suggest a felony probation. At best, he would be on misdemeanor probation, so it would be 5 or 0.
But it's still going to affect the guidelines, I believe.
All right, anything that you want to say on Mr. O'Rourke's behalf before the court imposes sentence?
Yes, Your Honor. This is a really different kind of case because my client actually went to the police department and reported what had happened before there was even a complaint made, the officers didn't even know about it. Then they investigated, and it resulted in these charges. I've never seen that happen before, but that's what happened in the situation. My client is very remorseful. He knows what he did was wrong. He was using marijuana at the time. He was not thinking. He understands there's no excuse because of his actions, but he is, like I said, he was so remorseful. He was feeling such guilt and such that he actually, like I said, he went to the police department. He confessed when there wasn't even a warrant, a complaint. That's like really exceptional behavior. I just want you to take that into consideration. I in my practice, you know how long we've been practicing. I just honestly don't understand how I've never seen that happen before. So I would just like to take that into consideration. His extreme cooperation with the officers and law enforcement in this situation. We'd ask you to comply with the plea agreement and fashion an appropriate sentence based on that. Thank you.
Your Honor, the victim does want to speak. I don't know if.
I'll do it now.
All right, thank you.
All right, and your name is Kayla Cupp, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, now is your opportunity to tell me your thoughts before I impose sentence.
He did come to me and he wanted to turn himself in instead of me calling, and which I'm glad he told me. And like, he could have just kept having this going on for a while. Emma, she's doing a lot better. They say, like, even my parents as teachers through the Newaygo County, she says she sees her. She's more bright, happy. I see that she's more happy. She don't close the bedroom door anymore since I showed her Cody's stuff's not here and he's not here. She has said things to me about touching Nick, and she's never used that word before, but we are going through the process of making her better, and hopefully that this doesn't affect. On Cody's standpoint, he is schizophrenic, bipolar depression. He has some issues, and honestly, the best for him and the best for this community is for him to get help.
Is your daughter receiving any counseling?
Not as of right now. I have to take her to the doctors first because she has been playing with her vagina, and I ask her if it itches, if it pees when she hurts, and she tells me no. So I'm going to make sure she doesn't have a yeast infection or a UTI before going forward with possible counseling.
Okay, thank you. Anything else that you want to share, ma'am?
Nope.
All right, and Mr. O'Rourke, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges other than those that were made by Ms. Frisbee?
No, sir.
Is there anything that you'd like to say on your own behalf before the court imposes sentence?
I would just like to apologize to everyone involved.
All right,
That'll
thank
be
you,
all,
sir.
sir.
All right. And Mr. Stay, any additions, corrections, or challenges?
No, Your Honor.
Anything that you want the court to consider?
Your Honor, obviously, this is a terrible thing that the defendant did, but he did take responsibility for it. It is a straddle cell. People made a no prison recommendation in consultation with the victim's mother. I would ask the court to sentence pursuant to that plea agreement.
All right. The court is going to score prior record variable number 6 at 5 points. As the record indicates that he was on misdemeanor probation at the time. If he was in fact on misdemeanor probation, then the advisory guidelines would be 12 to 24 months. If, however, he was discharged from district court probation at the time this offense was committed, then his advisory guidelines would be 5 to 17. In any event, the court is going to sentence consistent with the guidelines either way that they're ultimately scored, and also consistent with the plea agreement in this case. Would be the sentence of the court that this defendant served 1 year in the Nuevo County Jail. I'll give him credit for the 125 days that he already served. There's a $68 state cost assessment, $130 crime victims' rights fund fee. He's going to be placed on probation for 5 years. There's a $30 per month standard probation oversight fee and $60 per month for electronic monitoring and scram. There's a $100 fine, and there's a $100 court cost. And of course, he's required to register as a sex offender. The court would give him 60 days from his release from jail to pay his financial assessments. And Mr. O'Rourke, you do have the right to make application for leave to appeal your conviction. If you could not afford an attorney, the court would appoint an attorney to represent you on appeal. Request for a lawyer must be filed with the court within 42 days. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all for today.
Okay, we still have Eddie and then someone else hearing by phone, but I don't know who that is yet.
Well, let's do Eddie. So you put Christine in the waiting room. All right, can you hear me, Mr. Gamboa?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is case number 2012432 FH, People versus Eddie Gamboa Contreras. Mr. Contreras is set for sentencing today. He's appearing by Zoom. His attorney is present in court. And Mr. Contreras, do you understand that you have the right to be physically present in court for sentencing?
Yes, sir.
And do you waive or give up that right and agree to be sentenced remotely?
Yes, sir.
Prosecution and defense, was the pre-sentence investigation report timely made available to you?
It was, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Prysock, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with your client?
I have.
Do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges?
I do not.
Anything that you'd like to say on your client's behalf before the court imposes sentence?
First defense judge, I think it was really a more lapse in judgment than anything else. The department has recommended PIDA. It asked the court to follow the recommendation. Furthermore, Judge, we do not object to the restitution amount. And Mr. Contreras has done 81 days in jail. I've asked the court to consider giving him credit for time served and not imposing any further jail. It's kind of an odd situation, Judge. When I saw him yesterday, and I didn't have time to check this because I saw him late in the day. He was actually released from jail by mistake. And he was out for like 4 weeks. Did you know anything about that, Bill?
I don't have the file, so.
And so then they realized that he was released mistakenly, so they went back and picked him up and put him back in jail. And he was out trying to find a job and didn't get in any trouble while he was out, Judge. So I guess I'd ask the court to consider giving him credit for time served and take that fact into consideration that, I really think this behavior was kind of an anomaly on his part. And that the court just give him the credit for time served, as I said. Put him on probation, Homes Youth Training Act, and hopefully in 18 months he'll be back successfully and we can dismiss the charge so he doesn't have a felony.
Well, the problem that I have is that it's showing credit for November 4th through January 5th, which would be the bulk of the 81 days, 79 days. And if he hasn't been in jail, if he was released accidentally, he wouldn't have 79 days and you'd get credit for all that. But I don't know how many days he's been in jail.
It wasn't his fault, Judge. I guess the point is, he was released. If he was released, and I said I couldn't check it out. He didn't get in any trouble. He lives in his parents' house. He was trying to find a job. And then they came back and knocked on the door. He was at home and they said, hey, we got to take you back to jail. So he said, okay. And they took him back to jail. So even though, that may affect the jail credit, Judge, I guess I'd ask the court to consider, that he was on good behavior when he was released.
Right, yeah, I understand your point, but in terms of the credit, we have to get that right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, and anything else that you want to say? All right, and Mr. Gamboa Contreras, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with Mr. Prysock?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges?
No.
Is there anything that you want the court to consider before the court imposes sentence?
I want to be out here and start behaving and get a job and pay out myself.
All right, anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
All right, and Mr. Stay, any additions, corrections, or challenges?
I do, Your Honor.
All right,
I have the defendant has 5 prior misdemeanors, 4 of which I scored. He has a 2017 possession of marijuana, Nuevo County, 2018 possession of marijuana, Nuevo County, 2018 no ops, which I do not believe is scorable, Nuevo County, 2019 operate minor with any BAC from Nuevo County, and 2019 use of marijuana in Nuevo County. I scored PRV 5 at 10 points. I agree with the OVs. So I would ask that the court update, score it that way, and that would, as we indicated, the plea would make the guidelines 10 to 19 months.
All right,
All I can say, Judge, is that's news to me.
me too.
I had no CCH for Mr. Gamboa. And obviously would have affected all the prior proceedings had I known.
All right, and Ms. Bierlin, can you access district court records where you are? Mr. Gamboa, do you have those convictions in Nuevo County?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I apologize. I did find it. I take it back.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Zerip, you previously indicated that you can't verify or dispel this because your file is missing.
I believe when he entered his plea, he was in jail. When I went and interviewed him, he was in jail. If they did release him by mistake, that was after I had interviewed him and done the report. Since then, Prosecutor State sent me an email about these 4 scorable misdemeanors. I went back and looked for the file, which I suspect is probably at the secretary's house because we're all working from home. So I do apologize for that. I don't have any of that in front of me.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Bierling, do you show those convictions for Mr. Gamboa out of district court here in Nuevo County?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. All right, so the court will then score the prior record variable number 5 at 10 points, which would elevate his advisory guidelines to 10 to 19 months. That's consistent with how the prosecutor represented that they would be scored at the time of the plea. Mr. Prysock indicates that he did have access to the record. And so that's not, it's not new information, at least to the attorneys that made the agreement. Okay, so, and Mr. Zerip, you had recommended the Homes Youthful Training Act. I'm guessing that was assuming that you, based on the fact that he didn't have 5 misdemeanors in the last 3 years.
That is correct.
All right. Okay, in this case, the court recognizes that the advisory guidelines would suggest a sentence between 10 and 19 months. The court's going to exercise my discretion, sentence consistent with the advisory guidelines and consistent with the plea agreement in this case. Would be the sentence of the court that this defendant served 10 months in the Nuevo County Jail. I'll give him a credit for 2 days. The date that he was arrested, March 13th, and again on May 3rd for 2 days credit. The court will give him additional credit for any time after those 2 days that he was incarcerated in the Nuevo County Jail before he was erroneously released. We'll get those numbers figured out, and we'll give him credit for those days as well. There is a $68 state cost, $130 Crime Victims' Rights Fund fee. There's a $60 DNA fee. There's $450 in restitution payable to Danielle Fields. the court's going to place him on probation for 18 months. There's a $30 per month standard probation oversight fee and $60 per month for electronic monitoring and scram. There's a $100 fine and a $100 court costs. Mr. Gamboa Contreras should report to jail today at 3:15.
I guess I'm confused again. I saw him yesterday. He's in jail. That's why I'm surprised he wasn't on.
Oh, he called in. He's not in jail now. Mr. Gamboa Contreras, you're not in jail right now, are you?
No.
No. And did you just get out last night?
Yeah, I got bonded out.
Okay. All right. So you got to go back. You need to be there by 3:15. You cannot show up drunk or stoned. If so, that could be subject to additional jail time or prison. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right. You do have the right to make application for you to appeal your conviction. If you cannot afford an attorney, the court would appoint an attorney to represent you on appeal. Request for a lawyer must be filed with the court within 42 days. And can you pay your financial assessments today, sir?
How much is it?
Well, let me add it up real quick. Looks like it's $848.
348.
848.
So if I pay that, I don't go to jail?
No, sir. I'm just asking when you can pay it.
Well, probably in a couple of days.
All right, the court will give you 30 days to pay your financial assessment. You need to report, as I indicated, to the jail at 3:15 today. That's all for today, sir.
But when am I going to get out?
Well, I don't know that, and I don't calculate that. So far, I've given you 2 days credit. We're going to figure out how many additional days that you spent in jail after you were erroneously released, and then when you went back, and then, of course, we're not giving you credit for today, because, well, we will give you credit today because you'll be back there today, but the jail will calculate all that. So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
The bondsman paid my bond, so just at midnight.
Well, I don't have any control of that. If you probably would have asked your lawyer, he probably would have said that would have been a dumb thing to do, to waste that money for less than 24 hours of being out. But what's done is done.
Hey, sir.
All right. So that's all for today. Thank you.
Hello.
We're done with we're done with Mr. Gamboa's case. That's all for today. Thank you.
Yeah, but I already paid too much money. Who's gonna pay my money back then if he goes back to jail? You gonna pay my money back?
So stop the live stream.